Okay, I'm going to show you a fairly complex quote that I've processed with DME Justify, and it helps to weed through a lot of the noise on one of these complex quotes. So let me show you what we got here. Here's the quote, and as you can see, we've got several pages. I've actually condensed this. You can see where the page break is right there. One, two, three, four. There's 5 total pages on a PDF. But look at all the extra noise, all of these zeros right here. So we're justifying the base and we're justifying the batteries. And remember, the batteries always go with the base, no matter if it's group 1 or group 2. So we're going to go down, and then we see 1007 right there in the middle, 2613. So there's just a lot to sift through and think about. So anyhow, let me show you what it looks like when we process this. So we're going to use our quote scanning tool, and you won't be able to see the pop-up window, but I'm going to upload a PDF to the quote scan. It's the same one. It's 5 pages long. So there's a lot to look through and keep organized in your brain. So let the system extract the viable numbers, and we have succeeded with that. I'm going to expand and show you. See, there's page 1. There's the page break. 2. There's page 3, 4, 5. So there's 5 total pages there. Let the system do the work. We're going to extract. Okay, so there we have our families right there. Now you can use, I've showed you how to use the filters beforehand, and you can use the filters afterwards too, obviously. Let's say that this person has a cerebrovascular accident with spasticity. So I'm just going to type in CVA. Now we have, some people have not been diagnosed with spasticity, so I am cautious about that. I'll just say weakness. So with spasticity, we're going to say this. So now let's go ahead and weed out all of our conditions. So we go from 37 variants to 12. Now all of these options have spasticity in them. All these diagnoses produce potential spasticity. So if we even go even further, now if we did spasticity in self-cath, now we've got spasticity self-cath in all of these options. Okay, so let's just go ahead and do self-cath. Well, I guess that changes our stroke diagnoses unless there is that one particular potential. So I'll just make it spasticity, and let's say that they have right hemiparesis. Okay, so if they have right hemiparesis, they might be using the left-sided controlled joystick. Heel loops, these are kind of generic, general, and neurological are pretty generic. There's lower amputation. You don't want to say in your statement that this person needs heel loops for both legs if they have an amputation, unless they are not using, if they're using a prosthetic, then they do need heel loops. So these are all things to consider. So I'm just going to say neurological. And then we know that this person's going to have tilt and recline. So we're going to go with both tilt and recline, removable headrest. The chest strap, the stroke has potentially caused trunk weakness. So you can weed through this. Most of the time for this type of client, it'd be just a regular chest strap, but there's 3-point, 4-point, H strap type harness. Okay. The controller joystick, head array, rim control, eye gaze, chin control. Obviously joystick, expandable harness, current options requested. As I've said before, this is group 3s can, be upgraded and expand on the functions that are available. So we're going to go current. Attendant controlled joystick. Okay. And then tilt, recline, and we are doing elevating leg rest. So now the expandable controller is going to be addressing all 4 of those things. Okay, so neurological, weakness, head array, rim control. So these are kind of what we would consider more generic. If the controller is also managing information coming from the head array or the rim control, that is necessary to put in your justification. So we're just going to say neurological. And then positioning, you're going to know your client. So let's say incontinent and no wound. That narrows it down all the way to that kind of positioning cushion, no wound. Also, 2605 is a standard width. If it was 2606 positioning cushion, I believe that's 22 inches wide. So that's going to be quote driven. You have to know your client. Sometimes people put in, a 2605 where they actually mean 2606. So be aware that the quote is going to be read as the quote is processed. So be aware. There are 22-inch wide options for larger people. 2613, what kind of backrest are we getting? There's only 3 options to choose from. We do know that we are going to have recline on this device. So the positioning backrest needs to accommodate that recline. And then our 40K0040, our 40 family, is going to be angle adjustable foot plates. There's multiple options there. 40 actually. 40 options of 40. Okay, adjustable width frame. No, let's see, 108. I'm going to have to look through this and make sure which 108 codes are actually being recommended that need to be justified. And it does not appear as I'm scanning through it on this particular quote. But remember, that's a very generic code for hardware, electronics, for the width of the frame, for all kinds of stuff. So if you run into that and there's really nothing on there because it's detecting multiple 108 codes that do not need to be justified, you can just hit complete section and then final statement, and there's your justification. Ready for export.